Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I am going to vote for this budget. You compare it to the President's budget, this budget balances in 10 years. The President's budget does not. And so if Americans want a balanced budget, some people think 10 years is way too long, but if you ever want a balanced budget, this one balances in 10 years. As Senator Portman said, the President's budget never gets to balance. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, as far as the eye can see, it never gets to balance. We've had a lot of talk today about hardworking Americans, about good-paying jobs for hardworking Americans. Senator Warner mentioned private sector job growth. Certainly we all support that. The distinguished ranking member talked about a full employment economy. But we just have different ways that we plan to get there. In almost the next breath, my friend from Vermont, after saying we need a full employment economy, says the solution to doing that is to put another tax on job creators, to put more requirements on job creators. I disagree that that is a way to get to a full employment economy. Now, I support this budget because it provides a mechanism to repeal and replace Obamacare. Some of my colleagues say, what are we going to do about the people who would lose their health insurance? Well, let me make this clear. We have no intention of allowing those who would lose their coverage, their Obamacare coverage, to be disadvantaged by the loss of Obamacare. As a matter of fact, we think there's a better way to provide health care for them, and we intend to do that. As a matter of fact, millions of people who liked their insurance have lost their insurance under Obamacare. Millions and millions of Americans have had their copays and deductibles increased and their premiums increased, although they were told under Obamacare that this would not happen. None other than Senator Schumer, a person who voted for Obamacare, has said it was a mistake for Democrats to push through Obamacare. People that had insurance coverage liked their insurance coverage. We should not have disadvantaged them, but I can assure my colleagues that any repeal and replacement of Obamacare is going to take care of those people who have been disadvantaged by relying on the false promises of Obamacare. Senator King mentioned that health care costs are going up. We could eliminate the inflation in health care costs. We could solve the deficit problem. I would simply point out to my colleagues that Obamacare is the law of the land, and under Obamacare's own statistics, Obamacare doesn't solve this problem. It was supposed to solve the problem of increased inflation in health care. It does not. Now, my friend from Rhode Island talked about the smashing and slashing of expenditures under this budget. And I'm always amused when I hear these terms when actually spending is going up. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at non-defense budget authority, Mr. Chairman, and I see that in 2016 it's $493 billion. Next year it would be $495 billion, an increase. The year after that, $504 billion. And in 2025, $558 billion, an increase in non-defense discretionary budget authority, hardly the savagery that we're being told is part of this budget. Currently, the federal government spends 20.3% of the gross domestic product. Under this slash and burn and smashing budget that we hear about from our friends on the other side of the aisle, that figure would go from 20.3% of GDP all the way down to 19.4% of the gross domestic product. Again, a slight decrease, but nothing like the savagery and slashing and smashing we're talking about. And finally, let me say this. I support this budget. Again, it balances within 10 years. It does so without a tax increase. And I want to go back to what Senator Crapo said. We support the idea of additional revenue, but you get additional revenue by growing this economy. When the economy grows, when more jobs are created, there are more people out there, and the economy is better, and revenues are a result of that. Those are the types of revenue that I think are called for in this 10-year balanced budget plan. And so I congratulate you, Mr. Chairman, on a very difficult task and on a very important step forward.